Okay, so confidence intervals. Again, this is something we did in Algebra 2. Okay, if you think of the word interval, it means from one number to another number. Okay, an interval is from something to something else. Okay, it's just the size of something. Confidence, we're going to be talking about how confident we are in the interval. So, that's a little bit off, but, so point estimate for population P. Okay, we have a point estimate. The probability for success in a single trial experiment with only two outcomes. This can happen or this can happen. There's only two outcomes that can possibly happen. So we call it P hat. That little triangle on top of it, you remember us referring to it as P hat before. The proportion of successes is P hat. So think about this as a test. Okay? You have a test. P hat is how many you got right on the test. Okay? And then how you turn into a percentage. So if you got 34 out of 35 on the quiz, okay, you turn it into a percentage. That's your P hat. Yeah. So X is the number of successes, like the number you got right, and N is the number in the sample. Okay? So it's just like on a quiz. X is the number you got, N is the number there was to get on the quiz. 34 divided by 35, 17 divided by 24, whatever it is. Now, you can get right or you can get wrong. When we talk about the two outcomes. So you have P hat, which is the successes, and Q hat, which is the failures. So in other words, if I got 34 right out of 35, that means I got one wrong. If I got 17 out of 24 right, it means I got 7 wrong. 24 minus 17. So in this case, it's going to be 1 minus whatever P hat is. That's going to be a decimal. We're just going to subtract it. So, for example, I surveyed 1,219 adults. 354 said their favorite sport was football. Find a point estimate for the population proportion. So that's very simple. 354 out of 1,219 said yes, they love football.
I love football.
There you go. That equals 0.29. That is equal to P hat. Okay? P hat is 0.29. In other words, 29% of the people surveyed favored football. That was their favorite sport. 29% of those people. Almost a third. Not quite a third, but close to a third of the people. Okay? Now, if we were going to ask for Q hat, it doesn't ask for that, but I'm just going to do it for this one. Q hat would be 1 minus 0.29. Okay? So in other words, kind of like we were just talking about, if 29 cents is how much the candy costs, what's our change? 0.71. That would be Q hat. And again, the question didn't say that, but I just want to do one sample with it, P hat versus Q hat. Again, it's the same idea we did previously on the previous section with P and 1 minus P. So P hat and 1 minus P hat. Example 2. In a survey of 1,093 Summit students, 628 out of, remember the fraction bar means out of, 1,093 said they preferred early dismissal over late start dates. They'd rather get out early than start school late. Well, that's 0.57. That's my P hat. About 57% of the students said, yeah, we'd rather leave early. In other words, 43% said no, they'd rather have the other one. Okay. A confidence interval gives us an interval of possible values for a population parameter. We talk about this all the time. Okay? We're talking about like these numbers right here. What are those numbers? The range of the temperatures. Low of 54, a high of 73. That's what they're predicting is going to happen. That's the interval of temperatures for Saturday. So we don't use the word confidence intervals in our everyday life, but these are confidence intervals. They say, you'll see, there's a 10% chance of precipitation, a 50%, 60%. Coaches make these decisions. Are we going to cancel the game based on what's happening? Storms coming in. Should we cancel the game? Do we need, we just had, about 3 weeks ago when all the games were postponed in St. Louis area like a week because that huge thing of storms was coming in. Someone had to make a decision. They do that based on information like this, confidence intervals. How confident are you, Mr. Weatherman, that this storm is going to hit at this place at that time? Okay. So the point estimate, besides, gives us the starting point on where our confidence interval should be. This is an educated guess on what would be a good estimate. The margins error is what you add or subtract to it to get your interval. It is how far at most we expect the estimate to vary from the true population value. So in this case, what we're going to do is, we're saying that the range is from 10 to 18%. Well, we need to find out where is the point estimate in the middle. So what do you think we're going to do with those two numbers? Huh? No? There's going to be some of that in there. We're going to add and then divide by 2, right? Because we're trying to find the average, the middle. Where is the point estimate in the middle? And then there's going to be leeway on both sides. So when we do that, we're going to find out that p hat is 0.14. Okay? So let's talk about money. That's 14 cents. That's right in the middle of 10 to 18 cents. Okay, or 14%, right in the middle of 10 to 18. How high does it go? 18. How low does it go? 10. How many ways does it go either side? What percent? From 14 to 18 is how many percent? 4. From 14 to 10 is how many percent? 4. Right. So we're going to plus or minus 0.04. So our point estimate, p hat, is 14. And then 0.04 is the give and take. How much higher, how much lower? Okay? So let's say the range of grades was 28 to 62%. Hopefully not. That means we're going to take 28 plus 62 and divide it by 2. That's going to give me a p hat of about 45%. No, you don't have to. I mean, you know how to, so you can say 0.45. Right. I mean, you should be able to go quickly back and forth. Okay. So p hat 45% or 0.45. Now, when we do q hat, it does have to be a decimal because it's always going to be 1 minus. You don't want to be 1 minus 45. So it's going to be as a decimal. But they are. I want you to understand they are interchangeable. So from this point, I'm going to plus or minus what? Well, that's where you just take 62 minus 45 and see what the difference is, and it's 17. 45 plus 17 is 62. 45 minus 17 is 28. 45 is the halfway point. Do it again. 30 and 42. Point, obviously. Divided by 2. That's going to give me a p hat of 0.36. With a plus or minus of 6. So in other words, 36 right in the middle. I can go 6 above or 6 below. We'll go ahead and do this one. 0.03 plus 0.15. What's halfway between 3 cents and 15 cents? Well, that would be 9 cents. So 0.09, that's my p hat, plus or minus 0.06. 9 cents plus 6 cents is 15 cents. 9% minus 6% is 3%. Same thing. For some reason, this link isn't working, so not doing it. All right. Now, the confidence interval. The confidence interval, and this is just a printout from this website. The confidence interval, which we call C, gives us the long-run success rate of confidence intervals calculated with C% confidence. So we said 90% confidence or 80% confidence. That is, in C% of all possible samples, the interval computed from the sample will capture the true parameter. Okay? So if we click on this, it'll take us to this site here. Okay? So we're set up for proportions, and if I say I want 100 intervals, that's kind of what you see on your screen, on the screen printed out. I do a sample, and my confidence interval is 95%. What you're seeing here is that range, okay, from the median of 0.5, okay, 95% would fall within this range. This is just another way of showing the data. You don't have that in your notes, it's just on the thing. There we go. Okay. Now, this is one of those statements again, like the last unit. We kind of got it in our head because we're going to use it over and over. So to interpret a percent confidence interval, like a 95% or 90%, this is the phrase we use. We are blank percent confident that the interval from low to high captures the true proportion of whatever we're measuring. Yes. So, for example, right here, we are 95% confident, okay? We're 95% confident. The interval from 10 to 18% captures the proportion, and fill in the blank, of all adults who would say that healthcare causes the biggest financial problem facing their families today. Okay? So in other words, we're saying that only about 10 to 18% of people say that healthcare is their main concern right now, but we're 95% confidence that the range is within that. That's our confidence interval. Okay? So if I said I found out that was 30%, that does not fall within the confidence interval. That would be outside of that. So we're going to do that now. It says, a recent Gallup poll asked a random sample of 1,010 Americans to respond. If the U.S. fails to develop a more talented workforce, it will fall behind other countries. The 95% interval for the proportion who would respond strongly agree or agree is from 0.74 to 0.82. Interpret this confidence interval. So when you see that, we're going to fill in the blanks on that statement. So we say, we need a marker, that's what we say. We say, we are, okay, 95%, and we're just filling in that blank form, confident that the interval and then we just say from 0.74 to 0.82 captures the true proportion. You're writing this down. Okay, we're just filling in the blank from here. Okay, so we have this statement right up here. All you're doing is putting 95% here. You're putting 0.74 to 0.82 here. You're just copying those words again. And then we're going to say, well, it's right here on your paper, to 0.82, okay? So it captures the true proportion of those who agree or strongly agree with the statement. Okay, based on the confidence interval, the one we just referred to, based on that confidence interval right here, Is it plausible that the true proportion of Americans who would respond strongly agree or agree is 77%?
Yes.
Yes, because it falls within the range.